Welcome, champions! My name is Dylan, and I am coming to you live from the Codename Entertainment streaming closet located in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Before we begin, I would like to thank Dungeons & Dragons for hosting us, and also For Fans by Fans for sending us these, still packaged, sweet mouse pads, well, mouse sheets, giant sheets. We have 4 of these to give away today, and we also have 4 shirts, not unlike the one I'm wearing now, but Idle Champions shirts in either unisex or ladies fit in multiple sizes. I think our largest might be a triple XL. I'm not sure. So we should be able to accommodate pretty much anybody. So yeah, we will be doing 4 giveaways of those this stream. Because we have 4 mouse pads to give away, and we have lots of shirts, but these are actually the shirts that we had printed already and not the ones that For Fans by Fans just made, because they've also made some really nice shirts, different sizes, colors, etc. But these ones will be sent by Clive from our office to you wherever you are. So we're just crossing our fingers that the winners are in places that are easy to reach by mail and that the shipping costs aren't insane. But hey, if you do happen to be in Antarctica, awesome. And we hope that you enjoy the shirt if you're the winner. So anyways, yeah, that will be, we'll be getting into that in a little bit. What else are we doing? Because normally we do like familiar DLC giveaways, and those are cool, and we like giving away familiars because it's, you know, they're familiars, they're awesome. But yeah, we thought it'd be fun to do some mouse pads and t-shirts this time around. We will be doing some hoodie giveaways in the near future. We're not quite ready to do it now, because what will probably happen is we'll do them for a few streams and then we'll ship them all out at once just before Christmas or something like that. So we will wait and see. Hello, as back to Alaska, AK Stuntman and Mike, and hello everybody else. I see Draugr, Fulton Gray, Arkan Sunseeker, Silisa Garwar, Peachin, Nazan Bear, Ice Flare 42. Welcome everybody. I'm glad you could join us. What else? Today is, actually it reminds me, did I change? So, full disclosure, I had to go to the bathroom about 9 minutes before the show, and so I was in the bathroom, and I'm like, I got a bunch of stuff to do, so I'm a little bit more frantic, and I'm just double checking that everything is set up right before I switch frames, because, like, that'd be awkward if it wasn't. So one more thing. Oh no, I did change all that stuff already. Oh, I am awesome. Cool. Without further ado, here's the game. And apparently it also has the giveaway thing on it. So, cool. What else? We have a Q&A with one of the Daves I know, David Whitaker. And if you understand that reference, you're old. David is one of the Codename Entertainment co-founders and handles the development lead on things that Justin doesn't. He's the yang to Justin's yin, so to speak. So if you have technical questions about the game, especially those things that are player-facing front-end related to tickets or you know, what have you, Dave is the one to talk to about that. So he'll be joining me in 56 minutes or so. So that'll be fun. And other than that, what am I doing? I think I left my game idling in the Trollskull Manor adventure, so one of the new ones. So I can actually complete this now and pick another one. And so it'll be up to you guys whether I pick a variant or I pick something else. So let me know in chat what you want me to pick to do next. I haven't done either of the variants or the second adventure from this week's update because I was waiting until stream just to see. And so let me know. Nocturne 614, you're asking why the new missions are so easy. Because this is the 3rd update for Waterdeep Dragon Heist. That's why. That's really it. Like, it's really not that difficult to get through the initial adventures. The variants are probably a little bit harder. Do the variant with the kids. Ted Faster, I see that. Seed of Deceit this week's? No, Seed of Deceit came out, that was part of the last Grand Tour update. That's, yeah. The Steam code, in-game enter code option is up there in the corner. That's a Champion of Spies. And for those who are wondering where that came from, over the last I don't know, maybe 3 weeks or so. I've been teasing with hints at who the upcoming champions are for the rest of the year as part of the events. And a champion of spies was the one listed for Feast of the Moon, who y'all now know is Valanya Umvarar, Satine Phoenix's, what is it, Wizard Bard, who's joining the game next week. So, Anthony374A, what system are you playing on? This is the Steam build of the game, but I'm using the gamepad UI. So yeah, it's just controller friendly. New adventure unlocked. Ooh, sweet. All right, so the one with the kids, somebody said. Which one is that? Is that this one? The gargoyles, or is it the? It's this one, right? No, this is the one that. Oh yeah. Okay, things spawn. So I need to be doing this one in order to access the one with the kids. I think it is. So I'll start that. I haven't actually done these yet, so that's cool. Loading. There we go. Boom. And we've already rebuilt the manor. Hey, that's sweet. Yes, it is, Jarlaxle. It's a marvel. And you were so worried. Alrighty. Now, the nice thing about having a lot of favor is, like, the first enemy killed. And for those who don't know, you can actually still use the mouse to pick up your loot in the console gamepad UI. So just start adding characters. Stokey, I don't need Stokey. Calliope, Evelyn, Farida, Hitch, Makos. Oh, people are getting killed by giant rats though. Wow, Deacon. Oh right. So it's funny. One of the more interesting things about getting this together is like you kind of notice as you play more and more with this interface that there are things missing. So it's cool to see this coming together. There's Tyrrell. Not quite Strix yet. Cool beans. It's fun to see all this stuff coming together and start leveling these characters up. But I'll just get this rolling, and then I assume you have questions. I may have answers. I may not. Let's see what we got. Can I get a T-shirt of a mousepad with a T-shirt photo? I mean, you can. There is a photo I took that I put on the Twitter and the Instagram earlier today that contains both those things. So you could take that and make your own T-shirt. Do you have data to show players in Antarctica? I don't think so. I don't know. That's a good question, PepCacker. I'm just going to make a note there because I don't know if we do. I was just using it as an example of somewhere that would be really expensive to ship to. So we're hoping that the winners are in cheap to ship to places because we're an indie company and, you know, shipping can be expensive. Ted Faster, what's the green stuff? The green numbers that pop up are healing, if that's what you're referring to. Can we please have shirts knitted by Dylan and the rest of the team? Oh, God, I can't knit. I have no idea if anybody else in the office is into knitting. Maybe. Let's see, I already covered that. What else we got? Murky 1988. Able to say anything about the upcoming DLC that kind of leaked during the last patch, price or anything? So, first things first, Murky 1988. It didn't leak. Nothing leaked on our end. Players are, you know, data mining the game and finding things that some of which are in progress and are not necessarily complete and certainly aren't released or announced. So it's kind of premature to talk about it. But Chris addressed a bunch of stuff related to that in the Well of Spoilers on the Discord. So, I mean, if you're interested in learning more about it, that'd be the best place to go. But I'm not going to officially comment on anything that is not announced. You know, it's kind of, yeah. As we head into the holiday season push for the game, where because, you know, we closed down the office for a week leading through Christmas and New Year's. We're going to try and get everything that would be coming out that week done and ready for the game before we leave for the holidays. So, you know, much more so than there has been in the past, there will be opportunities for people to, you know, dig into and tear apart the game and data mining their way to all kinds of different spoilers and secrets. So I would just ask that anybody who does do that, please, like, if you're gonna talk about it on like the subreddit, properly tag it with spoilers so that we don't have to just delete your posts. And if you're doing it on the Discord, do it in the Well of Spoilers channel, because that's what that channel is for. Like, that's everybody who opts into that channel is, you know, it's everybody who's in that channel has opted in to learn about that kind of thing. So, you know, just kind of keep it there. Xbox happy. Are you playing with a controller? Yes. Yes, I am. I mean, so with the gamepad UI, there's still a couple things that you can technically use the mouse for. Like I can use it to pick up all this gold. But the different parts of the UI and leveling up characters and stuff is all controller only. So I'm using a knockoff Xbox 360 controller that does not work as well as a normal controller, but is good for our game. I just I tried to use it playing Dead Cells and I couldn't quite do anything as finely as I'd like to. Wizard of D. Is Paulton ever going to join the game? I can say that categorically, yes. Paulton Seppa of Dice Camera Action, played by Nate Sharp, will be joining the game. Yeah. Nocturne 614. When can we expect more hero upgrades to be added? That was mentioned on stream 2 weeks ago now. The tanking and healing update, which is coming soon. Not soon, TM, copyright Blizzard and Valve, but like soon, will include level cap increases as well. Ted Faster. How will a Bard Wizard work with Deacon? They will count for the Bard buff. Candyman. How will multi-class work? More Deacon love. Oh, same thing. Yeah. So we don't have a lot of multi-classes. I think was the only one. I want to say Ishii's the only one we have right now, but somebody's got one. Who is it? Yeah, Ishii, Fighter Rogue. Yeah, it's just same deal. More champions who can fulfill more than one role. So it's not like it takes away from one or anything, or like you really risk anything. Like when you think about caster slots, when you multi-class playing 5e, how they can get limited depending on what kind of classes you're mixing together. But that's not the case with this. So they will just count for both. I'm going to finish leveling up these characters so I don't have to look at this part again, and I'll get back to the Q&A. Text in the way. Also, the mana has been destroyed. That took all of 2 seconds. Leveling up Evelyn. Wait, why am I leveling up Ishii? I'm not even using Ishii. Well, I love Ishii. I'll just level up Ishii anyways. For those wondering, so the gamepad UI as it is right now, the one that I'm using, we have an updated version that is significantly updated from here. Like frames are different, a lot of things have been refined. You'll notice that like when I'm picking specializations right now, it's like it can be kind of difficult to see which one is being selected. You can only just barely tell. It is really clear in the updated version of the UI which one you're doing, so people will be happy to know that when it becomes available. Do I even really need to do much to this formation at this point? I mean, it could be optimized further, but really, the only thing is I think I'll move Evelyn into shielding range because Evelyn is squishy. Anyways, back to the questions. We are also approaching our first giveaway of a T-shirt and mouse pad. We need a name, phone number, email address, and shipping address in order to send these out because we do corporate shipping. So keep that in mind when you sign up for these, that like we do need some personal info. We're only using it to ship these to you. We're not signing you up for anything, but we do need that in order to send them. So just keep that in mind when you sign up. Chrono GK, is there any way to pick up loot quickly while in the gamepad UI without the mouse? Familiars and completing the areas. I know at one point during a version of the build we had a button that was for what we called picking up goobers, like the things that get dropped. But I'm trying to remember the reason why it was shifted. At some point I'd like to steal Peter on screen to give a real talk about this version of the game because he's been in charge of a lot of it, but quite frankly he's still way too busy to try and take on that conversation. So I'm hoping in the new year, once a lot of those things are in, we can do like a this is how you build a gamepad UI kind of thing, because it's been a ton of work on his part. Bazakrak, I read somewhere that the achievement with Calliope will be phased out. Any time frame on it, so I might try and get it. Without being specific, so Bazakrak is referring to the conversation around legacy achievements. As part of the tanking and healing and subsequently shielding update, enough systems in the game are going to change that a few of the character-related achievements that already exist are going to become redundant, and we're going to retire them. And so by retiring them, we will make them into what are called legacy achievements. And anybody who has played World of Warcraft would know feats of strength, achievements that can no longer be obtained. They were either tied to limited time events or parts of the game that have changed or what have you. So this is that kind of thing. We're going to retire achievements like Calliope's shielding achievement to make room for the new ones that will, be directly impacted by this system. And yeah, they'll become redundant. They'll get removed. They'll be put into a new menu, so they will show whether or not you've earned them. But we haven't finished discussing it yet, so it's not finalized. But we will also very likely be removing the 1% party damage boost that these legacy achievements would have offered if they were still normal achievements, just because we don't want to be unfair to players who join the game in the future. And in the cases of achievements like Calliope's shielding achievement, I mean, it's so unachievable. The players who have it did not do so legitimately. I mean, there might be one or two who have, but for the most part, it's not something that is really doable. So, not outside of crazy high favor levels and area levels and stuff that hasn't been achievable and through the base version of the game. So, yeah. And Ladar, is Idle Champions coming to Nintendo Switch anytime soon? We haven't announced anything about a Switch as far as I know. But no, certainly not this year. I mean, it's always a possibility, I guess. We could do a Switch version. I just don't know if we're going to. Soul Reaver PL. How much time will we have until this update? Or maybe a different form of this question. How much time you are sure you will give us to complete Calliope's achievement? Do we have at least 2 or 3 weeks? Maybe more. Or is there a chance that they will throw this at you next week? I am asking about the time to get the achievement, not the update release date. Oh, I mean, that's the same thing. The best answer I can give you is that the amount of time before the Tanking and Healing update will be measured in weeks, not months. It's coming soon, assuming... I mean, there could always be an issue that pushes it back, but weeks, not months. Very cool. I just got here. What's the deal with the title? The Daves I Know. I'm going to wait and see if anybody in chat got it, and if you didn't, then I assume you're either not Canadian or you're young. But it's a Kids in the Hall reference. So it's a song that Bruce McCullough sings. I'm just going to pull up the link. It's super stupid, but I still kind of love it.
Hi, I'm
actually, I really shouldn't be watching it right now, but I'm going to link it in chat right now. And I'm going to wait about 5 or 6 seconds before I hit the button, just so it doesn't look super weird. So, counting down. Artist, can you sneak in an update to Celeste? Someone in Discord pointed out that her Slot 3 Epic is the only one without gold on it. I can't unsee that now. It's an odd request, but I can make a note to see if it'll ever get looked at. I just don't know it will. How about a shirt of just a C&E employee's face? Oh, Mars, that's weird. Barlow, what has horns, a tail, and steals for a living? A thiefling. Boo. Sketch Monkey. Any word about more specifics of the Tanking and Healing update? I'm worried about the future of Barrowin. She needs proper party damage display if her hammer stacks are getting nerfed. No, nothing except to say that she's changing for sure. That she is currently in a state that we're not happy with, and that, like, yes, we have left it all year to address because we just didn't have spare cycles in order to properly address it. But as part of the Tanking and Healing update, Barrowin is changing because she's a healer and also she's a problem. So it looks like that'll happen, should happen, will probably happen. I don't want to promise it. It's very likely to happen before Winter Shield comes around again this year. So, but I don't have any information to give you on it, Sketch Monkey, because we're still in development and testing. AFKI Ninja. Does favor only stack gold percentage from currently owned amount or total acquired? It's what you've completed adventures with. The increase as you're playing is based on, yeah, it's what you already have. So the gold that you've earned for that adventure is not showing up in your gold find. That's why your complete adventure has a percentage increase at the end. If you're good at needle arts, does that make you a nitwit with a K? That's also terrible. God. You guys can dad joke better than this. Warp Monkey 145. Is there a way to see the next upgrades for a champion other than just one? So not in the keyboard and mouse UI, but in the gamepad UI, which I am currently using, you can see all kinds of stuff if you go into the character screens. It's like so much more information. It's kind of crazy. So like it's something that we know that players want, and we haven't really. We're aware that the keyboard and mouse UI needs some work. We just haven't. We don't have the development cycles to approach that yet, because we're not even finished iterating on the gamepad UI. Like, we wanted to get into a really polished state before we're done with it, and then we're going to take those lessons back to the other ones. So, yeah. High Rollers Rogue's Gambit. When does that close? The date that the dialogue says, November 26th. When their show series is done, so too is our event. Light Gray Skies. Will there be new blessings with the tanking and healing update? It's unlikely. We're most likely going to stick to just the hero level cap increases at this time. But I mean, nothing's impossible, I suppose. If everything comes together beautifully, like some kind of miracle from on high, praise Saloon. If that happens, then there's a chance that we might have extra development cycles for something else. But right now, we are not planning to add blessings with that update. Sunstar DK, why is Deacon cross-eyed in the gamepad UI? He's staring at his nose. I'm just gonna go back over to Evelyn. Sorry. Oh, dialogue. Close dialogue first. God, shut up, kids. All right. Hey, looking at his nose. It's Deacon. Come on. Looking at nose like a boss, or as if it is the boss. Has CNA tried using a DS4 controller? A DS4 controller? Do you mean a PS4 controller, Silisa? What is the level cap, sir? So it varies by champion, Sir Sam. So I don't know that I can answer that. But the area cap, to which if you progress past it, then you're probably hacking the game and you get auto banned. It's 1100 currently. Hello stream. Can we get more barbarian heroes, please? Both Wolfgar and Jamila sit on my bench, being swole, but more physical brutes would be nice. That's true. And you know what? It's funny because Binwin should also technically be barbarian as well. He should be a fighter barbarian. But there wasn't room in the interface to fit that. So, yeah, we should, in theory, have 2.5 barbarians. But yeah, I agree. More barbarians. More barbarians. More Steam achievements. Well, every permanent campaign update includes more Steam achievements, but if you mean outside achievements for completing adventures and variants, yeah, fair enough. I mean, more character-specific ones are things that we've wanted to add, but yeah. Oh, the DualShock 4 controllers. Oh, okay. That would be like the regular PS4 wireless controllers. Have we tried using one? Yes. We've tried. Sorry, don't know where else to take that question. I hope that helps. Let's see. Is there an option to get the shirt signed by the team and then sold for charity? If, for example, I would win the shirt, better than sending it to Europe, in my opinion. I don't know what auction would probably be interested in the shirt, because I feel like the people most interested in getting one of our shirts are probably in chat right now. But signed by the team, yeah, we can look at doing that. I mean, yeah, I mean, we got shirts, we got pens, that could be done. AFK Ninja, which pet can press the background goal bats and critters? You just need enough familiars on the battlefield area. Once you reach, I can't remember if it's 5 or 6, it'll click the background distractions as well. Lijon Maye. Can't you just nerf the Calliope achievement to be more accessible, or is it that hard on purpose? So it was initially designed with longevity in mind, kind of like long-term planning. It's like, okay, we're eventually going to reach this number, or some players will be able to get there earlier. We weren't building the game with the idea of doing a tanking and healing overhaul, but we've been designing the tanking and healing updates since January or February. And it's only more recently that we've had the opportunity, to, like development-wise, to really tackle it in the way that it needs to be tackled in order to do something well. And so, changing Calliope's achievement was kind of one of those things that was like pushed onto the back burner this whole time. And then now that we're here, it's got to be done. So, nerfing it wouldn't really, there'd be no point in nerfing it considering how close the update likely is. So. Between me and you, when is the tanking and healing update going live? I won't tell anybody, I promise. Like I said, PepCac are weeks, not months. Magenta shirt. How can the 1% of the shielding achievement give players an unfair advantage over players who just start? You mentioned often enough that this is not a game which has no specific win condition. By the way, I let my folks currently farm since 106 hours and got about 4.5%, currently at 7.3%. So there isn't a good, happy decision around this kind of thing to make, because the change has to come. So you're either choosing between a small percentage of potential like early players who may already have it, or all future players being able to achieve it. And we would rather that anybody who picks up the game be able to achieve this achievement, including people who have been around. But yeah, it's a lesser of the two evils kind of thing. Ultimately, we would rather more players were able to get the bonus, and there was never a bonus that players could not earn. So that's the thinking behind that kind of decision. Very cool. Cannibal Psychic Halfling or Thry-Kreen Ranger. Cannibal Psychic. Wait a minute. Isn't that a Dark Sun thing? Is Dark Sun the one where they're cannibals? I'm trying to remember. It's been so long since I've played in the Dark Sun campaign. It's like, it's the halflings are cannibals in that one, aren't they? Or is it elves? Something like that. Yeah. Oh man, that takes me back. I can't remember which one. Yeah, it's Dark Sun, right? Yeah, it's Dark Sun. Anyway, so yeah, Dark Sun. Thry-Kreen. So those are the bug people, right? It's been a while since I've. It's cannibal psychics are pretty. That's pretty entertaining. Total party chill. What is something that you would like to see in the game that can't be done? So. I mean, I don't know that there's anything that can't be done, per se, but I mean, the company, like the size of company we have and the game that we've built, there are some pretty big things that are unlikely to happen for us. So without throwing anybody under the bus or anything, like something that I would like to see that is unlikely to happen is I don't think we're going to do a you create your character, like your main protagonist character for the game. And it's like, it's a possible thing, but to do it well in the way that would make D&D players happy, allowing multi-classing, allowing, the full combination of race, class, and maybe even subclass options across printed 5e. It's just like, it would require such an astronomical amount of artist time and work to put that together in a way that felt good for the game, not even including balancing, that it just doesn't strike me as something that's going to be done. So yeah. Can we get a Minotaur or Centaur player character? Hey, anything's possible. Can we get more orcs and half orcs? That is also possible. I can spoil that the next 3 champions do not include Minotaurs, Centaurs, orcs, or half orcs. Volanya is an Eladrin, and the other 2 for the end of the year I'm not going to mention. Will an option to fully disable dialogue be implemented? It can be pretty annoying and slow to progress down for reruns. So we've talked about this a bit on stream. I just need a drink. Hold on a second. I lost my train of thought. We talked about this when Justin was on before, about how our approach to the in-game dialogue is likely going to be a slider that goes up to at fast it would go quickly, it would just go much more quickly. If it was in the middle and the medium, it would go at the speed it's at now, and then at its slowest setting, you would have to click to proceed, giving anybody who does want to read the dialogue the opportunity to do so. it's a low priority change for us. It's a quality of life thing that actually will probably fall to David. So, yeah. Does that make Binwin a quarter of a normal barbarian? Kind of. You know, he's stout. Let's see. Who is the best out of Stokey, Jarlaxle, and Ishii? I think the community can collectively agrees that Ishii is the most powerful right now. Jarlaxle could use some work, but Stokey is a fantastic champion. Like Stokey is not underpowered, just Ishii is a little better. Wizard of D. If you guys ever do more skins, are you going to give Evelyn her robot skin? I can't comment on that. Why are spies attacking outright? Should they not be hiding? I agree. Sneak attacks all the way. Nocturne 614. Do you plan on selling heroes? So you mean like just like spending real money on champions? I mean, you can do that in the store. You know, like you can unlock a champion by playing their event. It's the easiest way. Probably the fastest too. You can unlock champions through time gates. They open every 3 weeks or so, and then you earn enough pieces to open one every 5 to 6 weeks, give or take. Or you can go into the in-game shop and just buy one if you want. All the shop-related elements are, you're getting time. Everything's doable without it, but yeah, it's time. Except for the Azaka's Procession adventure. That's its own conversation. Have you checked out the idle trials and resources? Yes, I have, Mars. And I looked at it, and I was going to do one. I tried a Grand Tour single character formation Farida, made it to like 105 or something, and then I was reading the criteria, and I didn't follow everything properly. But I thought it was really cool, and I passed it along to the team, and we thought it was pretty neat. Like Grace guys, are you looking forward to the tanking and healing update? Yes, I am. I know that change is scary, because I get it. I mean, nobody is more scared of potentially changing what feels fun in our game than we are, because like we want people to enjoy playing the game. And this isn't about trying to force players to play a specific way either. It's more that the tanking and healing aspects of the game are very much an afterthought in terms of how you approach playing it. Like, focusing on DPS is the be-all, end-all way to get as much progress as possible. And we want tanking and healing to feel viable or feel like an option for players to use as well. So, you know, Justin is. I mean, I've talked about how smart Justin is in the past, and like, you know, he's got years and years of game experience, etc. But at the end of the day, like he's been planning this since the beginning of this year, and it's like he only recently had the time to sit down and make it happen. You know, and like he's working on it right now. Mark is working on it right now. You know, they're in the points, like they've you know, they're doing programming and testing and so on. And like, I'm really excited for it because one, I think that, you know, I'd like to see more than just Naeli used as a tank or Evelyn. Not that I don't like them as tanks, but like, come on, Gromma, Tyrell as a bear, Archon. I mean, they need to be tanks too. So I'm excited to see that, and I'm also excited to see the systems make a difference. Like, I like the idea that you could be healing your tank so much that, you know, eventually you will win a fight. That, like, you know, etc. It's just I think that'd be more fun. Yeah. Alrighty. I completed Arkan Sunseeker. I completed Calliope's achievement legitimately 11 or 12 days in the Immortal Warrior with speed potions running. Wow, that's awesome. Well, good for you, Arkan Sunseeker. That is dedication. Cool. Yeah, I figured there'd be at least a handful of players who had done it like properly. It's just that most of the time when it shows up, it's somebody whose account also gets auto banned because they've done stuff that they shouldn't be able to. What about the Mako's Gold achievement? Isn't that one harder to get? It's given enough favor, it's really not that difficult. Jokers Forever. I'd love to see the Kid Barbarian from the Saturday morning cartoon and his unicorn as a familiar. You know, that's funny. So the D&D Saturday morning cartoon, I rarely think about that, but it does happen. I think if we were to add those characters to the game, because we have access to them, that Wizards would probably want us to make a few minor updates to them. You know, most notably, you know, the really young girl in a, you know, bikini, that kind of, you know, whether it's intentional or not, but like that kind of like somewhat sexist aspect of D&D's history is something that like they don't really approach anymore. Like they have functional armor, not bikini male, that kind of stuff. So that character would probably change. The other ones are probably fine. So yeah, I mean it's possible we could have them, but I don't know if we will. Van Damme, can we get Regis's severed finger? That's funny. You know, we hadn't thought about that. Falcon Grey, can we get an actual fairy familiar and not just the pixie? Hey, I like where your brain is at. There are a lot of options. Yeah. Laknor, is Ravnica now within the D&D canon, and is it out of the question for an Idle Champions character? Oh, that's a good question. All right, I need a drink. Hold on a second. And this isn't booze, unfortunately. All right, so is Ravnica, the City of Guilds, part of the Dungeons and Dragons canon? I'm not the right person to answer that in an official capacity because I don't work for or represent Wizards of the Coast. But I'll tell you what I think. I think that in a game like D&D, where there are many established worlds and a very loose fantasy-like way of interconnecting them, whether that's through Sigil or through some other means, at your home table, you're playing a TRPG, you can frickin' go anywhere and do anything. You want to spend a bunch of time, you know, meddling in Azorius law or, you know, assassinating people with the Dimir in Ravnica. You can do that. Like, you know, you're in whichever district, interacting with Vraska or Jace Beleren or what have you. That is something that is very doable for anybody's D&D campaign, especially once the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica book comes out. And this is going to sound hokey like a product endorsement or something, but it's not. I have looked at an early copy of it. I don't have the actual one, and I'm looking forward to it. But it is an amazing book. The art team that Magic the Gathering has amassed over the last few decades is second to none. I would say even more so than the D&D art team to a tiny degree, just because they just have access to more. They produce 50 times more content. I mean, they just produce so much of it, and they use a lot of the same artists too. But it's just like they just produce such an incredible amount. The book is beautiful, just beautiful. It's amazing. I have nothing but great things to say about what it looks like. So if you want to do that in your game, you can. Now this game, our game, is Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, not Idle Champions of Ravnica or Idle Champions of Theros or Kaladesh or any of the other Magic the Gathering settings. So the chances of us having a character from that setting are slim. You know, like it's very unlikely you will ever see Jace Beleren as a playable champion in Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. That being said, I suppose nothing's impossible. I mean, if Wizards wanted us to do it, we could. But yeah, and it's funny because I remember reading an article recently talking about how the CEO of Wizards thinks that there'll be more D&D MTG crossover related stuff in the future. I don't know if that's the case. It certainly hasn't been a part of any conversations that I've heard about, but I'm lower on the totem pole than a lot of those people. So maybe Chris Perkins knows, or somebody else. But yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like, man, you're playing your TRPG game, like you can totally have Ravnica crossover with Toril or Kryn or Eberron, what have you. Very cool. I probably wandered off topic a lot there, and I don't mean to say that to like kind of go step back a little bit. I don't mean to say that the art team for D&D or anything is bad. They're amazing. If I were an artist, I couldn't imagine a better organization to want to work for. It's just the scale at which Magic the Gathering now operates at is so staggeringly high. Like, I remember growing up looking at D&D fantasy art, and it was always the best stuff. Like, in the world, hands down, best fantasy art. But, like, MTG over the last 25 years, are they in the 25th year now? Something like that, has produced such a magnificent amount of world-class art. It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. And the version of the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica that I've seen, like going through the pages, it's beautiful. There is tons of art and it looks incredible. So, you know, yeah, it is. That'll be a good purchase. I really can't wait to get my hands on one. All right, Mars. Back on topic. Mars. For merch plans, what about beanies so we can now have our own soft caps? Touche. I don't think we're planning to do beanies, but all the merch that is currently available for fans by fans, because I'm pretty sure it's limited to a bunch of different types of shirts, hoodies, and then the mouse pad. I don't know if they're going to do beanies. Now, stepping back to this time last year when people were probably first asking us about shirts, we have a digital license for D&D, not a physical license, which means that we can't print and sell anything. So the reason that there is only merch now is because we had to wait for the behind-the-scenes pieces to come together in order for there to be merch at all. It was like totally outside of our hands. We were just happy that now it exists. So, Slater Rosen. Is there anything coming for those who are over 750 points in the High Rollers event? No, the 750 point reward is the final reward. We don't plan on adding more. Waskis9161. Question about Liar's Night. Were the smiley pumpkins an intentional reference to Mike Merle's Happy Fun Hour? Well, no, because when we did the Liar's Night event tokens... Are you talking about the distractions? I don't think so. I think we just did them because it's Liar's Night, and that's what you have. I can make a note to see if Adam intended something else, but I'm pretty sure that was it. Maxwell Begun. Can I just purchase Azaka's Procession 2 completely? And tried again last night and got killed for 8 hours straight at 290. I mean, it's hard. Without egregious overleveling and, you know, probably weekend buffs and potions, it's not really doable. Like, I had to do it with, God, like E50 gold overleveling. Like, it took all weekend to get to the point where I could purchase enough to be able to buy basically the health required to survive SRX Lightning long enough to be able to cast a Celestial. And then, like, when I finally leveled up to the point and I had my formation ready, it was all just actually active playing for like an hour straight, doing the boss fight, making sure that I was timing the ults properly. It is crazy hard. Yeah. In the mission, Upholding the Law, I've been stuck on it for days. It's considered easy, and I've used pots potions, blue money on trying for said pots and potions. Any advice? Creepy Monster 83. I mean, I can't remember offhand which adventure that actually is. Now, I'm hoping that you have enough favor that you're reaching the level cap and struggling. Because if you're not reaching the level cap, then like the problem actually is that you need to earn enough favor and do enough restarts to be able to cap out, and then hopefully be able to complete it. Yeah. Erica tells me that's the variant where you can only use lawful champions. Because yeah, your selection of lawfuls is not great. Money's Worth says they used Barrowin and Binwin. That'd be a good combo. I mean, I used Barrowin and Binwin for a bunch of stuff in different niche variants because they're a freaky good combo together. Yeah, it's favor is the thing that comes to mind for me. Like, you got to be able to level cap your characters. So whatever it takes for you to get to that. What happens when the Hitch DLC or another piece of the Force Grey pack owner buys the Force Grey DLC? Will I get the same equipment for Hitch again? Will it be the Golden Epic on Golden Epic? Would it bring more bonus levels? So getting a second Golden Epic in the same spot does nothing. Now, the reason the Force Grey pack is separate from the individual Force Grey Champion packs is because just straight up we put it into the store incorrectly because we hadn't bundled DLC packs in the Steam store before. That's why it happened that way. And so it's been one of those things that's been kind of on our to-do list to fix for a really long time. And we just haven't gotten to it because it's a bit of a headache. It'll probably fall onto Chris's plate, actually, now that I think about it, even though it's totally Clive's mistake. But anyways, I'll make a note about it again. But yeah, don't buy more than one because you won't get the benefit. So, yeah. Will it ever be possible to have formations where dual lines of damage are rewarded? melee up front and range at the back. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's something we've considered. Yeah. I'll pass that along and see if Chris has something to say about it. Nocturne 614. Why are the familiars from gems so expensive? To give you something to work towards and spend gems on. That's really it. You know, they go up in price. You know, 1,000 gems, 10,000. It was like 1, 10, 25, 50, 60, 70 or something like that. Like it goes up high. It's really it. It's something to work towards. I mean, eventually you will get them, but you know, you probably won't start with them. You won't have them right away. We could have the D&D cartoon characters. Is it me, or is that inching closer to a yes? There's so many other characters that we're interested in pursuing first, I guess, is the thing, Cassius. We have, you know, we have characters from Dice Camera Action. We have our first character from Acquisitions Incorporated, the C Team. Hint, hint. You know, we have other characters we'd like to pursue, and other, you know, there's a ton of lore characters. There's tons of great book characters. I mean, you know, we have Farida. What about Havilar, etc. So we have no shortage of characters to add to the game. So right now, there isn't anybody internally pushing to add those characters to the game, nor is there really anybody externally pushing towards them. We had, at one point, a brief conversation with Wizards about the possibility of using them, and like that's why I mentioned that they would need to be updated. But yeah, it's a yay or nay. We might get to them, but I wouldn't say they're high on our priority list to add, I guess. It's a kind of would be fun thing, but like there are so many cooler characters that we'd like to work with first. Accurate Games. Are you holding your drink so oddly because you don't want to show a logo, or because that's your normal can grip? Why no London Fogs? Isn't it cold yet? I have had too much tea today already. Yeah, I mean, the only logo that you should see on screen should be either the D&D logo or the Idle Champions logo, right? This isn't far off my actual grip, but I just kind of do a little more. Probably looks weird in the picture, though. Any Bruno Wagner art? Well, I mean, I don't have any. I'd like to. Mirror the Mad. Any mounts in the future? I don't know that we're going to add mounts. Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool, but it's not something that we're necessarily going to do. Mounts. I mean, Evelyn's got one, I guess, for her ult. And Archon has one, I guess, if Chango wanted to let him ride him. Yeah, never really thought much about mounts for this game. That seems like such a World of Warcraft or Destiny or any other like MMO type game where travel time is a part of your game kind of thing. Just need to type one thing in here. Just trying to look at, because I want to make sure that. Oh yeah, that stuff's awesome. Yeah, Bruno Wagner. It's funny because there's so many of them. I was wondering if that was who I thought it was, and that fantasy art is so good. Has any discussion happened about making Iris dice for sale to your fans? I think they'd be a hit. You mean these? So we produced a chunk of them for the High Rollers promotion, and we sent almost all of them to High Rollers so they could use it, right? I think the people in the office, everybody's got a set of 4 of them so that we can, roll characters with them. And then I have 8 sitting here on this mouse pad that I'm going to do giveaways with at some point. Not today, but at some point. We haven't really considered going further and having them available in stores or anything. They're kind of a weird thing. Getting dice made and then like shipping costs and stuff. It's kind of I could see why it's a big business for like Kraken Dice and other companies. So I don't know if we will, but it's not impossible. Yeah, offhand. Very cool. Would it be fair to say that if we have to overlevel to get it, we aren't supposed to be doing it? Maybe. It's kind of... So I guess the thing is that there's a confluence of things that make Azaka's Procession Part 2 so difficult. Part of it is like the boss, the Area 50 boss in Tomb of the Nine Gods. And for those who don't know, spoiler alert, but the area boss for Tomb of the Nine Gods is the Lich or Arch-Lich, a Serac, as well as the Soulmonger, with complete with tentacles and then just like swarms of enemies. It is tuned to be a challenging end boss type encounter in the game currently. So like while you get there at 50, you probably wreck it because of how much more powerful you are. Once you get 150, 200, 250, that starts to get really difficult because it, as the game scales up exponentially, they scale up that much faster, and like by the time you get to the 300 one, it's ridiculous. Although the Stone Juggernaut at 290 is probably what stopped you first because it's also insane. So that's one thing that's happening, is that they are already scaled to be much harder than a boss is at that point, and then as you add the much higher area numbers, they get much more ridiculous. And then it was intended to be a crazy challenge. Like, it's supposed to be difficult. The idea was that players would not unlock it right away when we first released the adventure. Now, the part where I will fully admit that we, kind of misjudged is that we figured once we released more blessings and a level cap increase that players would probably be able to easily tear through it, and that hasn't been the case. So, it's something that we've had discussions about internally. But yeah, I will say, like, speaking for me and not for Codename or Idle Champions, like Dylan will say that I think it's too difficult. Yes, I was able to complete it the weekend it came out, but I mean, all the DLC was given to me, and I work here, and it's like, it's not hard for me to, I have an advantage that other players don't have. And there are players who have legitimately done it, and it's like, it's very, very hard. You need those weekend buffs. You need all the different types of potions. You need, it's like, and the over leveling is less for the amount of damage your characters do and more for just the amount of health you have so that you don't die right away. So it's too hard. Yeah. Van Dam 74. What is your favorite familiar? My favorite one currently in the game is Boo, of course. And my favorite one soon is Iris. Is Evelyn's Compel Duel supposed to say attacked them rather than attacked her? Well, no, Compel Duel is the one when they attack her. Cassius, I guess I'd have to look at it. The answer is the black cat. No, it's Boo. Boo. Boo all the way. Going down. Where's... Bum, 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 bum. I could hear a vibration through the floor of somebody turning on something. Thanks, team. All right. Anyways, back to it. Ugh, Alcoria, shut up already. Yeah, Cassius, I don't know the context of that exact spot, so without being able to look it up easily, I can't tell you offhand. Cosmic, what's this about an update? Sorry, kind of missed it. We had an update yesterday that introduced more Dragon Heist adventures and variants, and we have an update next week that will include Feast of the Moon 2, as well as the new champion, the Bard Wizard, Valanya Umvarar, an Eladrin, played by Satine Phoenix for decades, but most recently on Sirens of the Realms. Magenta Shirt, what about Nordum? Nordum the Modron? I can't spoil anything about Nordum. Wizard of D, still looking forward towards a Bag of Nails character. A Bag of Nails is actually in the game already as an NPC. I don't know if we're gonna make an unlockable character out of Bag of Nails or not. Maybe not. But yeah, Bag of Nails is actually already in the game. Jokers Forever. Will the Grodd Goblins make an appearance in the game? Sorry for the obscure reference, but I'd love to see them. Grodd Goblins. I'm sorry, every time I hear the word Grodd, I think of Gorilla Grodd, which is, that's where my brain goes. I'm just trying to think, like, they're like some other kind of goblin, right? I need to look this up. Oh, God, that is obscure. I don't know. Maybe? Maybe. I I mean, that might be something that Chris pulls out of his hat. Chris has a lot more D&D history knowledge than I do. Valentine. Given that we have Sorials mentioned on one character's ability, are we ever going to see Dragonbait? Yes. In fact, I'm pretty sure you've already seen Dragonbait. Kovicruz. Could we, one nice day, have Lorcan as a character? Now, that would be interesting. No comment. Web Junior 1981. Dylan, you need to get a D&D or Idle Champions can cozy to cover that logo. Yes, I do. Can cozies. Clive, get on that sponsorship. I want a can cozy. Yeah, actually, that'd be awesome. Or even just one that's like, it's just a beholder, and so like I'm drinking out of an iris head. That would be perfect. I'm new, so I don't understand your formation. Why isn't it a diamond? Semferin, this is the Waterdeep Dragon Heist formation, and this is from Dragon Heist Part 3. So there's a nice big gap in the middle, and then different as well from the Tomb of Annihilation formation, which is a great big arrow pointing right. Hey, it's Renee or Never Ember. I was about to launch into some Dragon Heist related things, but I won't spoil anything. Is Evelyn's ult supposed to be Find Steed or Find Steed? Because it says the latter. Well, Find Steed is a spell in 5e, right? Where a paladin can summon a mount. Giant Dwarf. Will the Gargoyle be our next lore champion added to our roster? So depending on how you define lore-based character, because that's an important part of this. Like, neither of the next two champions are from official D&D printed books, or books, comics, graphic novels, etc. One champion coming up is. So I consider a lore character to be anybody that was published in a Forgotten Realms novel, or in a Forgotten Realms centered game, like a licensed game, like the characters from the Baldur's Gate series, or Neverwinter Nights, etc. Like those are lore characters to me, as well as the comics and graphic novels. So there's a pretty large group of characters across all that. The Gargoyle is not the next lore character coming, but there are more lore characters coming. How soon? Well, by the end of the year. Gliding Secret. Where can I buy familiars for gems? I don't see it in the store. Once you've passed Area 66, and then the familiar inventory option becomes available, and you can purchase them from there, no matter which interface you use. Elabama. Is the Champion of War from lore or stream or custom? The Champion of War is the hint for the character coming after Valanya Umvarar, and it's too early to talk about them. So, yeah, we'll give Valanya her day, and enjoy the majesty that is Satine Phoenix, and how awesome she is, and how fun she is as a guest on the next couple streams, but also everything related to Valanya first, before we dive into who comes after. I don't want to try and steal any thunder from Valanya, because I think Valanya is going to be a really cool champion. And then I will be very eager to talk about the Champion of War, because I designed their kit. Royal Gentleman, fully voiced Critical Role characters coming soon. I wished. God, I don't know that we could afford that, even if they said yes. Yeah. People are getting loud out there, Dave.
No.
Yeah, I could hear it through the wall now that the sound system's off, and then they're turning on stuff downstairs. It's super annoying. And on that note, I'd like to introduce Confounder number 2.
Confounder?
Yeah, well, because I typoed Justin's job description last time, and it said confounder instead of co-founder.
Well,
which is not wrong.
These are backwards.
Anyways,
there we go.
Slide over a little bit.
Don't want to knock over my Red Bull,
Oh, yeah, God, no. Not in here. Anywhere but here. You would be the first person to knock something over in here.
Well, I don't want to be the first.
Yeah, yeah.
They told me not to screw it up.
Yeah,
so.
we'll see again after Extra Life, who is the second, third, fourth. Do you want to see a full set of dice with the Auto Champions logo? That would be cool. Yeah. I'm just going to burn through these ones quickly because they're all directed in my direction, and then we'll get into the stuff that you have. Like Gray Skies, have you read the Harry Potter books? And if so, which one is your favorite? I have read all of them. It may be blasphemous to say this because I had this conversation at lunch. I didn't think they were that well written. Trying to think of which one was the best. The one where, I don't remember what, Prisoner of Azkaban was probably the best one. Because it's the only one where there's a plot twist that was actually unexpected. Powertruck, has Dylan ever addressed the accusations that he is threatened by the popularity of Binwin plays? Well, you know, I did cut Binwin's brake lines and he still made it to work, so. Is there any chance of being a familiar Hecubus from the Pit of Ultimate Darkness? I'm going to have to look that reference up because that's not raising a bell for me. So much character talk. Can we have Durnan? Durnan's adventuring days are over. I can't picture Durnan leaving the Yawning Portal for long for any reason, so the idea that he would be a champion at your party is extremely unlikely. That said, if you started some shit in the Yawning Portal, Durnan would end it. So, and then can we see Imoen from Baldur's Gate 2? Ooh, no comment. Except to say that the Baldur's Gate games are freaking awesome. Alrighty. So here we are. This is your stuff, Dave.
All right.
How long until we could say familiars in formations?
Wow. That's... I'm not going to read the text written next to that.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, it really depends on how many requests I get for it.
Oh, I get lots.
The faster...
I get tons of them.
The more requests, the faster it gets, the more it gets pushed up the list.
Fair enough. That's a kind of a good point for anybody, really. Like, if you really want a feature in the game and it's something that the community wants, if the community is unanimous in their love of said feature and they're like expressing it constantly, much more likely to happen. That is life. Let's see. What's next? Does the gamepad UI have HD support? That is a good question, actually. I don't know that answer.
Well, let me skip the answer on that one is, how do you define HD? I guess they're looking for 4K supports, what they mean by HD support.
Oh, UHD, that would be.
Yeah. So technically, yes, but no, it doesn't have 4K support at this point, beyond just being a blown-up version of the game.
Nocturne 614 wants to know how many active players we have, if we're allowed to share that.
I don't know that we generally share that, so I'm going to leave that one off.
Yeah. Enough that we're in the top 0.1% of games played on Steam.
Yeah, that's true. I think you can actually look that information up on Steam, and you can see what any number of active players we have at any given time.
Yeah, the most played D&D game on Steam, and definitely in the top 20 or maybe top 10 of free-to-play games on Steam. But I don't have numbers for sharing offhand.
I mean, Steam lists us, and the Steam listing's obviously not a secret because it's a Steam listing, shows us having about 6,000 to 7,000 active players at any given time. But what that is of the total active players, not something I think we're putting out there at this
Steam
moment.
has like 137 million installs or something, so
it's a lot.
Yeah, but lots of people aren't playing right this second, so let's see, a treasure room where we could look at our achievements. So they're interested in like alternative ways to view achievements, and then tied into the legacy achievement thing, like players are just kind of curious about it. But.
Right, some kind of a more interesting visualization of what achievements people have completed.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a neat idea. It's something we've done in previous games where we've had trophies associated with achievements that you can arrange in whatever manner you feel is visually appealing.
Is that a job you gave to Kat? Like, you're not icons, now you're drawing trophies.
Trophies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think when the last time we actually did something like that. I mean, in all of the Eggbreaker games, we had trophy rooms you could arrange to suit your desires. Yeah.
Oh. I never played those ones.
And then
Sorry.
in Bushwhacker, a part of the items you collect are the customization items, which you then get to decorate your ranch with.
Yeah.
So certainly there's elements to that there, but it's certainly not something that's come up. Or I think this is the first time I've seen it as a recommendation for this game. It's a cool idea. I don't know that it's something that, because it would have a whole layer of art required to get something like that going.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a cool idea.
Okay. This is an interesting one from Ogmog. If I bought a $5 pack of a champion, let's say Strix, and she got an offer again and I spend another $5, will I get anything else then the 3 gold chests, like a shiny, and if I get one, is a random. So I guess they're wondering if like if they do the minimum purchase more than once, if there's a different reward for each one, because the first one will get them whatever Strix's base golden is from the event, and then
Right. I mean, it depends on what you're seeing in the offer. For the most part, whatever you see there is what you get, and there's no sort of what's the word for it? It doesn't know what previous things you bought and then add them together to add additional things.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, right now you get what you see is what you get, and in some cases it can be. In some cases there are offers that have additional ones. I think like the weekend promos often have then an additional one for, and they got the base level for an existing champion that you may have already gotten one for, but
Okay.
but nothing that stacks. Yeah.
All right. Oh, this is a good one. I like this from Silisa. Why did we pick Area 66 for unlocking for familiars? Yeah, Dave. That was a Justin thing, wasn't it, that one?
That was a back and forth when we were putting it together. The intention was to make sure that the UI didn't show up in the middle of the tutorial and be something that would confuse all the other things that we were trying to show. So completing Area 65 was the target we set on that, which was something that had you at least reset twice and completed the tutorial features before it came up. So that's why it ended up as get to Area 66 was complete Area 65.
Execute Area 66. Huh. Yeah. No, not to sidetrack on this or put you on the spot, but is that something that we're considering making an adjustment to, given how the game has evolved since we added that?
I'm not 100% sure what the issue is with that in terms of is it coming up too soon, or is it a confusion of... I mean, the only thing that I have occasionally fielded questions on that have been a little bit confusing is that if you purchased one, from a DLC pack, it doesn't immediately show up until you've actually reached that level. That's the confusion.
That was the part that I was wondering about.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that's we can mark that down as something that would probably be ideal to change, but it's just something that hasn't been...
burning things with more burning.
Hasn't taken a priority, and it does come up fairly infrequently.
Yeah. Okay, I was wondering if that was something to pop up a lot.
You'd have to load the game or add the game, and then immediately make a DLC purchase of a familiar, which is... It happens, but it's not super
typical
common.
player behavior.
Yeah. Usually you do the tutorial first, and then you're like, okay, this is cool. Now I want a familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is interesting. Hawker & Co. This is not a serious question, but I like this question anyways. Given the raving success of Overwatch and the League of Legends animated shorts and music videos, do you think you could hoodwink Satine and Mercer into using their contacts to get a music video for Sirens of the Realms? That'd be freaking sweet. I can't think of anybody who would be more excited for that than Satine.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, she gets excited about stuff because things are exciting, and she shows it. I don't know how else to put that. Yeah, that would be cool. And on that note, I've had that stupid K-pop song that League of Legends put out the other day in my head all week. It is some of the best viral marketing I've ever seen in my life. That was so smart. And it's for skins.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't actually watch the video. I just saw it up on Corey's screen.
Oh my god. Never mind that it's a really catchy K-pop song that they've produced. All the dance and stuff is choreographed really well from, I guess, known dancers. But the part that tripped me out the most is it was part of the opening ceremony of League of Legends Worlds, which has become a pretty big event. Last year, they did an AR thing where they had the ceremony and they have bands playing, and it's this big Super Bowl rigmarole. And then they had an AR element where all the cameras and could see that this giant elder dragon landed on the arena and was roaring and flying around the audience. So if you watched it on stream, you're like, what the there's a dragon there. And it's very well animated. And then this year they did the same thing, except in addition to having the people who perform that pop song doing it live and doing the dance, they had the digital versions of the characters that they were portraying also doing it on stage. And the animation is actually good. It was a trip. I can't imagine how much that stuff costs. And it's an advertisement for skins in a freaking game.
But nevertheless, quite awesome. I mean, if we had that kind of budget.
The song is charting. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It's just unreal. Absolutely unreal. Anyways, on that note, when is the game coming to phones?
We don't currently have any plans to be porting it to phone right now, primarily because it's a redesign of the UI. We did previously do a phone version of Crusaders, and it required a complete redesign of the UI to fit it down onto a small enough size. And even then, there are elements of the game that just don't really work as well when they're so small. There's a lot of information you want to know on offhand, like all the time when you're playing, like all the stats on or all the different level up information for the characters, and then the upgrades and everything just being handy, or everything being available. And it's just really tricky to get it to work on the phone for that. Yeah. Additionally, it's a little bit awkward to move the characters around. Like the formation gets really quite tight. So it would be a tricky overhaul. And we've talked about different phone ideas. And if we did eventually do something for that, I think we'd actually adjust the way the game actually played so that it was more suited for that form factor. But that does mean like a full redesign of a lot of elements. So
yeah,
so it's not on the table right now.
Yeah, especially looking at how long we've been working on the gamepad UI and iterating on it. I couldn't imagine how much longer it takes to do something properly for mobile, given the varied screen sizes and other elements. Like,
yeah, and the nice part
like
about the gamepad UI is that at least you're not covering up any of it with your hand when you're moving elements around.
Yeah.
And then of course we're operating sort of the gamepad UI gives it sort of the opposite issue where you're looking to be on bigger screens.
Yeah.
Which means actually we're making everything bigger.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where these portraits come in, right?
Yeah.
Like, we needed higher definition, higher quality portraits to see on these screens. And they did killer work. This is all Adam and Alexis, I think.
For the portraits? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know if Kat's done any of them yet. I assume she will at some point, but I don't know if she has. Anyways, yeah, very cool stuff. Muka HS, console and PC versions have different interfaces?
Question mark?
Yeah, so I guess they're wondering if, so I'm using the gamepad UI in Steam, and so like this would be pretty ideal. Like if you're one of those people who likes to use Steam in big picture mode, or you just like using a controller, this is a much nicer looking interface than our base one. But yeah, the console version of the game will use this, or actually a much prettier version of this that has been updated since then.
Oh yeah, that's what that's the rounded boxes version.
Yeah, yeah, and the top left corner of the screen where it's got the gold find and the party damage, we have gold find, party damage, and favor with a little bit more statistics for each one. And that it's really clean. I can't wait for everybody to see it. I just it's not ready to push that out to the Steam build of the game yet.
Yeah, and they're still finishing up the polish on that. So
yeah. Van Dam would like to know about character-based Steam achievements. Except that wouldn't be you. That was something that Justin had talked about before.
Yeah, if Justin had talked about it on stream, I wasn't.
So usually when it comes up, it's people are like, why don't Hitch and Dritz and Azaka have them? And it's like, it's because they're added characters. So like, you couldn't count on people having them, and we just never got around to making them, etc. But it's always been like at some point we'd like to revisit that and have more character-specific ones. So
yeah, it's certainly a little tricky for characters that you would get via the events or different mechanisms through which not everyone would have that character or be able to easily get that character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a lot easier for us to do the in-game achievements than it is to, like, we can easily add as many in-game achievements as we like, whereas getting them in Steam is a little bit more rigmarole to actually get them set up. So.
Yeah, I guess it'd be Chris who does those, right?
At this point, yeah.
This is an interesting one from Money's Worth. Is the game compatible with an Art tablet pen? Because it doesn't apparently recognize the clicks from their Wacom pen. So they're just kind of wondering about tablet. What do you call it? The pads. Fuck, brain farting so bad. I'm sorry. You know what I mean, Dave. I'm just going to drink here in silence.
Actually probably all of our artists would know if that had worked or not for them, but it's not something we've looked at as far as like trying to make sure that it works with the pen for a click.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why it would be different, like the clicking of the pen button than just actually a mouse button, but we could ask our artists, find out if they actually can use it with the pen or if they ever have.
Yeah.
But they're probably in the chat. Someone could actually just drop in an answer.
Well, there's about it's a few second delay to Restream and then more seconds delay to Twitch. So we'll see. This will show up soon. Boom, Cat. It works on our Cintiqs.
Oh, there we go.
So it must be a specific thing to somebody else's device.
Okay.
Yeah. Alrighty, can we have some sort of Hall of Fame screen for each campaign that shows the highest level reached in the campaign, the strongest hit by a single hero, the HP of the highest boss or armored enemy killed, etc.? So more stats, but specific to milestones.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting thing we could add in for sure. I mean it's certainly I don't see any reason why we couldn't do it. It would be more along the lines of like is that's something we want to put resources on at this time.
Yeah.
So I mean, certainly we could have those stats attached to the actual adventures. I know we did end up adding a number of stats to the final results screen for those, and of course those aren't actually stored anywhere.
Yeah.
But they certainly could be. It's a thought. You know.
Is that something that we worry about with statistics like that? Is just more data storage? Because I mean, we have a decent number of players, presumably.
For something like that, it's not a huge deal. Sort of the biggest thing that we end up storing is the play history. Sort of like the adventure log. If you go in there and see your previous, like what you won and what you got from boss fights and what you got from chest opens, that sort of thing can build up really quickly, just because it ends up storing a lot of actions and in some cases a lot of information about it. So we have like a running window on that data. Something like stats for adventures, it does add up, but it's not quite so bad as a sort of a detailed history. So.
Does the percentage all champion damage stack from unequipped champions or only active ones?
It only stacks from champions that are none of the effects apply for champions that are benched. So you must have a champion. Your champion must be in the formation for any of their bonuses to apply.
Okay.
Wow,
Yeah.
I can stumble over that.
No, it's all right, man. It happens to all of us. Okay, so with the rarity of shinies, can you consider allowing us to pick the champions? Nothing is more disheartening than getting a shiny and it randomly drops on a champion that isn't even fully geared. It's happened to me twice. Shinies are the rarest thing you can get in the game without spending money.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough in terms of like the desire to have that, but part of the ultra rarity of it is that it does end up being random, and I think there's certainly a careful balance to be had between having things that are randomly. The randomness, what am I trying to say here? It's if we take away if it's always good, if it always lands exactly where you want it, it sort of takes away that ultimate excitement when you get it on the thing that you really do want it on. So it's a careful balance on that, and I think that we do a number of things at this point to minimize things getting too out of too unlucky, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I think we're pretty happy with where it's at right now. So I don't think we'll be pushing towards having more control at this time, just because I don't think that I think it's a good balance where it is right now. So, like I say, if we make it so that everything landed exactly where you wanted it, then sort of there's no luck to it. There's no what's the word for it? You know what I'm trying to say, right?
I don't know if I'm following it actually.
There's,
the player in me is like, so just on the note of RNG and drops and different elements of randomness, there's a part that will always feel like RNG is unfair when it doesn't go the way you want it to, and it can get compounded by like if you have an unlucky streak, if there is such a thing. But at the same time, like, I mean, this is kind of like how every game approaches loot drops in every game, right? Like, I mean, if you're somebody who plays World of Warcraft, and you want that mount off of, I don't know, let's pick one, the one from Stratholme in Vanilla, the skeleton mount from Baron, whatever it was. I mean, that was like a 0.1% drop that people chased for years,
right?
And so, like, it's kind of balancing the need to, you know, like to pursue something with how difficult it ultimately is to get something that you want. And so I can kind of appreciate how some players would be like, oh, like this went to a champion I never used, or a champion that I unlocked for an event and have never touched since, and they're wearing, you know, greens and blues, and it's like, so I can get how that would feel disappointing. But at the same time, it's like if you make it like you can pick where things are going all the time, it's like it's the other end of the spectrum. So
yeah, I mean, certainly struggling to articulate it exactly precisely, but it is a case of balancing. If you can't lose, then the excitement of winning is diminished.
Yeah.
So so it's a balance to make sure that it's not. You don't want to have it so that you never get it where you want it to be, but if you always get it where you want it to be, then it's not as exciting.
Yeah. And like, not to sound like an evil game developer or anything, but like, if you want people to keep playing the game, there needs to be some level of challenge to getting what they want.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I wouldn't even go so far as to say that was sort of an evil game
Well,
developer.
it's a rabbit hole, right? Like some developers are eviler than others. So, yeah. Somebody wants to know about an Otyugh familiar, and I had to look up which one it was because I wasn't sure which enemy in D&D that was because there's so many, and it's one of these like creepy aberrations. And they look sweet. It might be a little too big for a familiar, though. Like, we try to pick, like, low CR things for familiars so far, except for Iris. But Iris is Iris. That's a special case. So maybe we might use those as an enemy. I don't know.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting enough to look like it could be a familiar, and it's got enough tendrils there that it could have something,
The tendrils are all clicking.
I could see that working.
Yeah, maybe.
Depends on how big it actually is.
Maybe, Van Damme. Maybe. Okay, White Boy Rick, do you get a pity shiny every 1,000 chests? No. No, we don't.
No pity timer on the shinies.
World Gentleman also talking about potions of polish not going where they want. Barlow, how tall is a giant spider? At least 8 feet. Ugh. That's not your best dad joke, Barlow. All right, here we go. This question has been asked of Dylan, but it's now time for you.
Oh boy.
Which Idle Champions character or characters are your most favorite, both from a lore and a gameplay perspective? You play our game, right?
Sometimes. I mostly spend my time in the editor. Favorite character?
Who do you like?
I mean, the lore perspective, as I said before, I was really championing, forgive my pun, getting a Deacon into the game. Because he was one of my favorite characters from Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah, you were talking about Deacon last year. And
yeah.
Probably the reason that we got pestered about Deacon all year long.
I think it was one of the first questions you closed with the first time I was on stream was sort of what was my favorite lore character. And I was like, Deacon. But from a gameplay perspective, yeah, I'm not sure. Right now, I'm really liking Pirate Brunor just because that is a really nice skin.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's from a gameplay perspective in terms of he's really effective, more from I think he just looks really cool. So I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. Pirate Brunor. Mm-hmm. I like Pirate Brunor. Okay, why are the speed potion icons different than normal potion icons?
Well, see, we have an artist named Adam who likes to change up the backgrounds after it's been about 6 months since the last time he did one. So that's just a thing that seems to happen. So if there's a big pause between doing a particular item, Adam tends to sort of change his mind about how he wanted the overall look to be, and then we get something slightly different.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's the best approach to that. And I actually think I gave him a hard time about it when the first time I saw it. I was like, these backgrounds are different, and there was a bit of a shrug and what are you going to do about it? And I was like, okay.
Well, nothing, I guess.
Yeah.
I like to try to time killing the familiars so that they bounce off the edge of the frame, because that's amusing to me. Oh, I didn't know I could hit that button to get the gems faster. Cool. All right, so next. The recent update added the shield value on the character sheet of champions below the health bar.
Good.
Can we have health shield bars also show on the smaller screen with the champion's information so that it's not a pop-up but appears when you hover over your mouse over that champion to help keep track of the exact health without requiring opening and closing the extra window?
Sorry, which one are we talking about? Which is the other location?
I think, well, I mean, this is the wrong UI for it, but like just down here.
Oh, like something you hover over there.
Yeah, it would just like have their health and such information as part of their lower part on the bar, just so you could see it.
Right. I mean, that's one of those interesting things because we actually had the health bars on there and then we took them off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The bottom hero bar piece there actually went through quite a few iterations before we settled on one that we thought was the right balance between not looking too cluttered and also having enough information on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting option. It may also be something that would alleviate some of the issue with the requests, so that you can see the health bars over top when they're fighting with a boss and it's covering up.
Yeah.
So maybe something on hover. I know we've been looking at the console version of the overlay when you hold the button down and you get the numbers and the health. And I think it was the left trigger button. I think you were just showing that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you just you can get the party damage to show up. Have to wait for them to actually be there. Close this. Whoop.
Yeah. And so we've been looking at something like that and thinking that having something in the main UI that we can just hover or hold a button down or toggle between in some fashion to get this information, and perhaps even any additional pieces we might want to overlay would be really helpful. So that's sort of some of the items that we want to look
for
at.
It. Bang, off the edge.
Backporting.
Gotta bank shot the bird.
I think you mentioned that earlier, Dylan, that we want to take some of the lessons from this and apply them back.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of them.
Yeah. Falcon Gray wants to know why this the tablet version of Vital Champions is not available on phones large enough to be tablets.
Yeah, I think that's just an arbitrary cutoff point based on the specifications we flag on the Android side of things, sort of what the...
Yeah, it's actually what they consider a tablet or not a tablet, not us.
And then, of course, on the iOS side, it's pretty specifically flagged as like iOS or iPad or not iPad is a hard line for them.
Yeah, and then I guess for like players can use like Steam-related apps to simulate stuff on their mobile device and get things to run on them. I've had players talk to me about it. I'm like, well, we don't support that officially, but yes, you can do something like that.
Yeah, so. I think I've heard that you can sideload it. You can get the APK and then load it up on your phone. Probably not the most ideal way to do it, but you can. Yeah, it's a gray area there, and that sort of where is the line? And then it starts to become a question too of like at what point does the experience actually not so good?
Yeah.
At least if you have to go to your way to pull it onto a sort of a questionable device, that it's not falling on us for having said, all right, well, this is actually playable at this size.
Yeah, I mean, anybody doing anything like that would be doing something that's not supported by us. But if you can, cool. All right, so this Bling Off has a bug. It sounds like often a champion is visible. More often, one of their two specialties is invisible. Closing and opening the game fixes it for a while. Is that a known bug?
Often a champion is invisible. More often than no. I want to say I don't. Occasionally, I get reports, and I mean really occasionally, not very common, that the graphics didn't load, or when the game's been left open for a long period of time, that graphics will disappear. But we haven't actually been able to figure out what causes that, and it's not something that we've been able to reproduce. Every now and then, I think I've had one or two people here have been like, "Hey, look, I've got it in this state," but it's never been something that we can actually like check what's happened. So for us, it's extremely rare to have something like that occur, and very tricky to track down because of that. I mean, this particular player is saying often, so it's a question of like, when you can open a ticket and we can talk about it further there. It's possible it's a hardware configuration thing. I mean, you might try it on a different computer and see if that occurs, if it continues to occur, and if it does continue to occur, then it could be something that maybe we can reproduce and correct. But needs a little more digging, and it's one of those issues that does sound like it's probably difficult to kind of get to the bottom of.
Okay. Noah Simple. Oh, I can answer this one too. But how in tune are you guys with Wizards of the Coast about future products? Do you guys plan ahead based on unannounced campaign modules and other books? We released the first Waterdeep Dragon Heist adventure for this the week that they announced that book, if that answers that question.
That's true. And we had some little Easter eggs hidden in the earlier adventures about some of the content in, was it?
Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Yeah, we had monsters from Mordenkainen's steadily coming out and appearing in adventures before the book was released. So yes, we are aware. I was mentioning earlier in the stream that I had looked at an early version of Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, and it was awesome. Not that that's coming to the game, because that's a whole other thing. But yeah, we do work with them. Now, this question is for you, and I find interesting because you're probably going to like this.
Oh, boy.
Like/dislike. This is from Silisa. I find that the game uses more memory when using familiars placed on ultimates.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible. I actually spent a significant amount of time a few weeks ago trying to dig through and find if there were any additional or any memory leak pieces that I could track down and correct. One of the things that I ran into, though, in doing that was that sort of the low-hanging fruit for that is pretty much all cleared up. And there was a number of things that I went through and found that places where we were allocating memory and then clearing it up afterwards, but in a way that wasn't really efficient. And of course, I was looking for places where things were stalling out. Because a number of players at that point had been reporting that after they'd left it open for an extended period of time, or even, it's for some cases, not quite such an extended period of time, that it was having small pauses. The game would run well for 10 seconds, and then there'd be a half a second freeze or longer, and that was generally occurring because the garbage collection was running. So you'd have built up a bunch of memory, and then it would be, all right, now I'm going to clear this up. And because it had gotten so many objects that were sort of transient and ready to be removed, that the garbage collection would take a long time, and that's where that stall out would come from. So going through a lot of that, I did end up clearing a bunch of that up, making it just in general not churn so much. And then we did find that, unfortunately, something that's sort of deeply embedded into a lot of the effects system, which is sort of where all the characters' abilities and upgrades get integrated together, uses a system where all of them are listening for actions that happen in the game. So, for example, you get like Nellie and her damage is affected by how many monsters are on the screen. So as monsters come on and off the screen, it's notifying the effect that's doing that. And telling it, okay, now there are 10, it should be this percentage, and then now it's down to 9, etc.
Yeah.
And so there's actually probably a couple hundred of those spread across all the characters and the formation abilities, and they get added and removed as you move characters in and out as things activate and deactivate.
Yeah.
Long story short, is that the listening system that we were using for that, which was the built-in mono one, the one that's built into C#, or the C# implementation that Unity uses, doesn't do a very good job of actually tracking the list of those. And as that gets added to and removed and added to and removed and added to and removed, eventually it actually starts to pile up sort of the where it was storing those, and then get worse and worse and worse and worse performance metrics. And so those are actually sort of a deep part of the system, and that's where we think we were losing a lot of A, the performance, and B, memory. And as a result, we've started replacing some of them with our own solution to that, because that way we can actually track it and see what's going on. And that did end up clearing up a lot of those stalls. But there's still quite a few integrations that are using the built-in one, and it's really tricky to see where any of that is actually piling up, because it happens so slowly. At least in our testing, I left the game running with something in a condition that a player had given me a formation that was known to be causing issues, and it took like 18 hours at 30 times speed for it to gain something like 800 megs worth. So it was definitely happening. The trouble was, because it was so slow, it's something that's very, very small, and that small thing is occurring over and over and over again. And because of that, it's actually really, really tricky to tell the difference between something that's slowly growing and something that's actually just a normal thing that's getting added and then properly removed. So it's a complex problem, and we're hoping to be able to eventually sort of track all that stuff down. And it may just be a matter of actually getting some better tools for tracking sort of what's been allocated and what's been removed and what's sort of lingering behind, which is the hardest thing to track at this point. So it looks like there is actually a tool we're working on that, or working with, that will be will function better with the newer versions of Unity. So there's some tools that are in beta that haven't really been fully fleshed out yet, but when those get a little more developed, we might be able to actually get a bead on exactly what's happening there. So, cool. Long answer.
No, I mean, we have some players who are programmers and devs and stuff, so they're going to be really interested in that. But also, like, it isn't to say that, we didn't just make a simple mistake and we're just too lazy to fix it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's you put some real time behind this, so.
Yeah, no, it's hanging over my head for sure.
Yeah. White Boy Rick would like to know if we're ever going to allow more than one champion per slot out on the field. So I don't know, Bruner and Deacon, for example.
I mean, the idea of having the slots move up, or having the being able to move them over one or the other, I think Justin kicked around a bit, but it's not something that that we've put a lot of further thought into at this point. But I know it was an idea that was kicked around, that we might be able to sort of shift one over one slot or another, so that you could use more than one. That there would be a little bit of wiggle room on that, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But not at this time.
Yeah. Will you ever make everything available in game, even if through a lot of grinding for free-to-play players?
At this point, I don't think any of the Golden Epic stuff is likely to be made that way, but pretty much everything else, we have a path for it that you can grind to. I think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on that, Dylan.
There is nothing that can't be earned aside from Golden Epics. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a free-to-play game, so when people don't want to wait, then they can get things faster. It's all there. It'll take you some time. I don't know how else to put it. It'll take you some time. Alrighty, and where's the one with the kids in the way? There it is. This is the formation that I was going to do earlier, and I realized I hadn't unlocked it yet. I'm just glad it all loaded without crashing, because that would have been embarrassing.
Did it crash previously?
No, but I don't know. I mean, that's always my worry on stream. It's like, uh-oh. Nothing to see here. Change the exploit thing.
Didn't that happen in one of the earlier like Windows demos? They got it.
When Bill Gates was on stage and he blue screened. Yeah, that was awesome. I really, really enjoyed watching that. Perhaps more than I should have, because it was hilarious. Yeah. Alrighty, moving them up. Where is... God. I mean, look what you guys are doing to me with this formation. It's brutal. I'll get the question and then I'll try and sort this out. Alrighty. Adelaine. This is a question that Justin has answered before, so I'll just tear through it quickly.
Go for it.
They want to know if a fix is ever going to come out for the over-leveled slot 6 items. The ones that have levels above the cap, the cooldown, ultimate cooldown cap items. And basically, if we make an adjustment, yes. Because eventually it gets to the point where, it stops increasing your cooldown. So, yes, when we get to it, it's not like something that we're doing right now, but it's coming eventually. Do all characters have white, green, blue, and purple items, or are some missing the whites? No,
all the items are there.
Yeah, they're all there. You just haven't earned them through silver chests. Potions of polish usable on characters like scrolls. You kind of addressed that already.
Yeah, probably not at this time. Yeah.
All right. The Crafty Mat. If Blizzard, a company that we have no affiliation with, was to make a second MMO to succeed World of Warcraft, what franchise or universe would they use next in your speculation? You were just at BlizzCon. We
were.
Yeah. Tell us.
Oh, I mean, that's a really hard question. Sort of, what franchise would they use? They were going to make another WoW. I don't know. I mean, I think that's a sort of what they have available to them. I mean, they've got Diablo, which is so close to WoW in the first place. I mean, I could see them doing something completely new, or they do something StarCraft related, maybe. I don't know. I think that's a tough question.
Well, they approached StarCraft as kind of like an MMO with that Ghost game that they spent 4 or 5 years on before scrapping.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've heard speculation around that before, and that seemed like the obvious sort of direction for them to go. They had something that was sort of broad enoughly, had a sort of a broad enough backstory to it to be able to make a world that was interesting. But yeah, I can't see them doing something like that anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what it requires to keep running World of Warcraft, like in terms of just manpower, server resources, etc. Like, it's got to be staggering.
Yeah, it must be a huge infrastructure tied to that.
Yeah, absolutely astronomical.
But I think at this point they've also got it down to a bit of an art, so think as long as they continue to have a pretty sizable player base on that one, they're not likely to try and cannibalize it with another product that's an MMO.
No, there's no reason for them. You know, the Diablo universe would make for a good MMO in terms of like, there's a whole bunch of classes, there's enough of, you know, their lore and characters and stuff to like maybe work on something. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like if they're going to announce anything Diablo related anytime soon, they're going to do it really carefully. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, they certainly got themselves a little fan upset over that.
Yeah, you know, so it was funny because so you guys were there, or were you probably still in the security lineup at that point, hey?
Oh no, we actually made it in before they started. They started everything a little bit late, I think, potentially because there was such a long lineup.
Okay. Yeah, because so we were sitting like we had it on the TV in the office. I put it on with the computer that you just built, so it had like the little Windows activation required.
The key was on my desk.
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time, but it's there and it's on. And then that was one of the parts where like we knew that it was a Diablo related thing. So like everybody in the office kind of got up and brought their chairs over, and we're all sitting there waiting to watch it. And he's like, Diablo on mobile, and it's like we were just like, whoa, what? Like, but like it wasn't as awkward as how silent it got at BlizzCon with that.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since they've had a new expansion, and they're pretty looking forward to something, and that's not what they were hoping for.
Yeah, it's. I don't think it's a secret that they have underserviced Diablo 3. Like, you know, one expansion 2 years after it came out, and one character, like 4 or 5 years after it came out, when they added the Necromancer. Like that was a year or two ago.
Yeah, I didn't play that.
And that's it in 6 years. Like,
yeah.
Like, and I have no doubt that they are working on other things. Like they probably had already started Diablo 4, and like that's one of the reasons why they weren't doing that or whatever. But yeah, that probably could have been handled a little better.
Yeah, no, I understand the disappointment for sure.
Yeah. So the follow-up to the previous question: your least favorite champion, both from a lore or gameplay perspective. Who do you hate?
Least favorite? I don't know. You know, I don't know that I have a good answer for that. I don't really hate any of the champions. I mean, who do I find the least interesting? Maybe. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that.
Well, that's no fun.
I know.
Well, okay then.
Sorry.
You like everybody. Let's see. Did you know that 720p is considered high def? Yeah. The reason, Ray Cool, that we were talking about that part is that a lot of players refer to asking us if the game is in HD, and they're referring to UHD as opposed to 720p or 1080p. So.
Yeah, the fonts get a little bit small at 4K, and that is something that we need to address at some point, but it hasn't been something we've been able to get to. But one day.
Yeah.
For sure.
What about a Volo champion?
Yeah, I don't know that would...
little old Volothamp, he's a scholar with like level 1 spells. Yeah.
Might be a little OP.
Yeah. And I guess not enough money because he has to give you a house instead. All right, so would it be possible to get a percentage completed bar on achievements like Calliope's Shield achievement and other amount required achievements?
As opposed to just the X out of Y?
Yeah.
Visualization. It is visualized on the bar itself. I think we're sort of stuck between showing the out of or the percentage. I guess we have to put it in brackets next to it. I don't know. I guess the question would be how much of a concern it is, and how much I'm not 100% sure that I see a huge amount of additional value for that, given that you have a visual indication already and you have the number. But I mean, we can see if that's something other players are interested in seeing.
Just going to some actual technical related questions. My 5-year-old would like to know why the rats drop feathers during the cursed farmer quest. That's so funny. That's a good question. Why do they drop feathers?
Is that just one of the quests?
It's just the quest drop that shows up as feathers.
There's a lot of things there where you just have to give up the suspense of disbelief. You know. It's
Plus, we're not murder hoboing our way around, so.
Yeah, it's like you get rabbit carcasses from both rabbits and wolves. I mean, I guess that makes more sense, but there are lots of really weird drops.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Garwar, that is a tough question to address considering we're under NDA. Wizards confirmed, this is true, Nathan Stewart confirmed this, that there's a new setting book coming next year. Will the Idle Champions campaign for that setting release at the same time?
We can't answer that.
Yeah, we really can't. Yeah, sorry. Giant Dwarf. Any way for Unity to open the store UI or the detailed champion panes into an external browser pane so we can look at a champion's stats, for example, and have it not cover up our entire playing area?
You're going to open the store UI or not really the way that things are designed and laid out. Nothing that you see there would work in a browser view without it being completely rebuilt to be in a browser view. Yeah, I mean, I think if I understand the question correctly, that's yeah, that would require us to actually redesign the UI or pieces of the UI to be viewable in a browser, which is something that if we desired to do, we could do, but it's not like we could just be like, and this show up over here. Not a thing that we could just click a button and have happen.
Good to know. Let's see, potion upgrading, like, potion crafting, etc.
Right.
It kind of ties into the whole crafting question that we don't get every time now, but we get pretty frequently.
Right. I was thinking about that the other day, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think the way that the potions stack currently, potion upgrading doesn't super. I guess if you had multiples that you wanted to have, you're running the ones that stack. So you've got your small, your medium, your large, and your huge. And you wanted to have them all stacked together, and you had just an enormous stack of small, and you wanted to, add 4 small together to make a medium, and 4 medium together to make a large, and 4 large together to make a huge. That you could use an enormous amount of potions and then have a big stack. I guess that would be marginally beneficial if you had a huge number of the smaller ones, to give your sort of to burn a whole bunch of them at once to get a big boost.
Yeah.
Certainly, it's been brought up before. That would be more of a Justin question from a balance and design standpoint, though.
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I look at that, and it would be fine for the lower tiers, but it wouldn't be okay for the epic one, because the epic one lasts as long as the adventure is, which is potentially 14 days of leaving it running on a specific variant turn and achievement. So
right, it would be one of those things where you end up with like a multiple growth of each one. So like how many large do you have to mix together to make an epic? Could be quite a few.
Yeah.
Could be so many that it might not have been worth doing in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're right. How long do the large run for? Those are the 2
blue ones are
hour
an hour.
Oh, 1 hour. Okay.
Hour, 15 minutes, and then I don't know, like 4 minutes or something like that.
Right.
Like, they don't quite. It's not clean. All the way
Right.
across.
So if you're potentially thinking of maybe a longer run, maybe like 16 hours or something, that's kind of where you'd want to be, around the sort of the equal value to the epic ones.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you want to burn, like, it would have to make sense in terms of a value proposition there for those. So you'd be looking at like mixing, like I say, like maybe like 16 of them together to get one epic.
Yeah.
If it was just 4 and you're looking at adding 4 hours worth to make it into a full adventure length one, which could be basically as long as you're going to run it. Yeah, I don't think it would be. I don't think it would work out very well for how those got mixed together.
Yeah. All right, Baron Stromgard, has any thought been given to more branching quest lines? Like, what if we want to evict the kids rather than be saddled with ungrateful whelps?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to be able to do something like that. The tricky bit is it's just a content generation pipeline issue. So we're sort of maxed out in terms of how much time
art writing,
how much time it takes, and how much art and how much writing goes into each of the adventures, so we can get them out on a really regular cadence. And if we were to start branching them, it makes the updates bigger, and it would mean that either they would need to have more resources on it, or that it would be a longer delay between updates. So it's a cool idea, but it just would end up with a lot more time going into it.
Yeah. Okay. Are there plans to allow players who missed purchasing a past special weekend golden epic to purchase those weekend epics in the future? We've kind of answered this a few times, which is to say that like it's eventually going to be part of a store or store related thing, but we just haven't finalized it yet.
Yeah, we'd like to make them available again, but we don't have a solid plan for it.
Yeah. Queen Lily would like to know if you were to run a Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign, which villain would you want to use?
You know, I'm not deeply intimate with the villains for Waterdeep, so I can't answer that, unfortunately.
Okay, so there's the book includes 4 suggested antagonists, as well as like the storyline is built into 5 chapters, and they're like kind of open, but the last one differs depending on which one of them is your villain for the campaign. So one of them is the Castellanter family. They're a noble family. One of them is Jarlaxle and his merry band of misfits. One of them is the Xanathar Guild, and one of them is the Zentarum. And I'm trying to do that in a generic way so as to not spoil anything for anybody in chat. But there's like, you kind of, depending on what time of year the events are happening, you kind of in theory are picking one of them.
Right.
So
well, I mean, the character that I'm most familiar with there would be Jarlaxle. So I mean, I could go with that, but
Yeah.
I'd have to read in about the other ones before I could make an educated decision.
Yeah, I use more than one at a time in mine.
All right.
Yeah. Actually, the office one, now that the party is split, there's technically 3. Although, which 3? All right, cool. This is the last one on the list, Dave. You ready?
I guess so.
All right. Does the gold find potion just drop less frequently now after you introduce the speed potion? Ever since it came out, I'm starved for gold find potions, but not the others.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, every time we add a new potion, it's going to affect the odds of the others by, however many total potions drop versus, whatever the odds are for getting a potion.
Yeah.
But so it wouldn't affect specifically the gold find potion. So no, I think it's just bad luck.
Ronan LOL would like to know, suggests that, what about a mystery golden epic chest? It shows up randomly in the store, and you get one of the past to be missed, and 3 of the chests from that weekend.
I mean, that's an interesting idea.
Would you like to add some literal gambling to the game? Yeah, it's an idea. That is an idea. So there's a couple things I want to go over lightly before we move on, because we're approaching the end of the day and we've given away all of our mouse pads, and I have the stack of them sitting here beside me. So first, I want to talk about some art, some Jaggernaut art that includes Strix and Hitch, and now Donar has been added to it. Now, we've been showing a lot of Jaggernaut's art, and Jaggernaut is not the only person creating fan art for Idle Champions, but they do awesome art that we like, that is shared on Twitter, so check it out. It's cool. There's even more than we've shown. I know we've shown quite a few. And there's also, I didn't get it ready in time, but there was also a bit of fan art done for Satine's new character, Volanya, that has shown up online that I didn't get ready in time for today. So I'll share that next week when Satine is a guest on stream so that she can get excited about it with us. So that's really cool. Check out Jaggernaut's art. Yeah, and then what else should I show? Maybe... No, I won't spoil those things. I'm just going to go into my regular exit.
You're going to leave them for Chris to spoil?
Wait. Yeah, I know, right? Geez, Chris. No, I was going to say, 1 minute, in 1 minute, can you describe what we're doing for Extra Life?
Sure. So we have...
Because you're doing most of it, it's like, so.
Well, organizing the schedule anyway. So we actually have a full 24 hours of... Well, it's not full, but we're going to be playing games for 24 hours, starting on the 16th, Friday the 16th, running into Saturday the 17th. We have a fairly full streaming schedule that many of the people here have put together, different games, different, what would you call them?
We have everything from a hot pepper challenge to people drafting Magic the Gathering to D&D to Super Nintendo, like just gaming in general. Yeah,
a pretty wide variety of games and game-related activities that we're going to be streaming basically all day up until the wee hours of the morning. And then along with that, we will be selling charity packs in all of our games that starting next week you'll be able to purchase, which will be the proceeds for will be going to the BC Children's Hospital.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that part too. That's cool. It's nice to game for something other than our own selfish enjoyment out of gaming. or our need to conquer other people. And on that note, that is our show today for Thursday, November 8th, 2018. So thank you all so much for joining us, for watching, and for participating in this community. We think you're awesome. I think you're awesome. This show would not be possible without the hard work of a number of people behind the scenes, including Erica, who co-produces this stream alongside me, as well as our partners at Dungeons & Dragons, Greg, Bart, Pelham, and Satine. Huge thanks to Dave for joining me for Q&A and not just working on memory-related stuff and other things that are probably really involved and take a lot of energy and mind space to do. So coming up after this, we have Waffle Talk at 4, followed by Trapped in the Birdcage with Holly Conrad at 5, and of course, Critical Role. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and thank you for watching.